Now let's move on to our final story for the night. Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has advocated death sentence for corrupt leaders in Nigeria. He made this known in an interview posted online. He said, "We must deal with the issue of corruption aggressively, maybe just like the Chinese are doing. Make sure that if there's an amount you steal, it is death sentence or life imprisonment or penalties attracting not less than 10 years. Afterwards, investing in critical areas of development like education, health, and productivity, which can be achieved by ensuring that those we entrust with responsibilities are capable." Ibrahim Garba, quickly, Peter Obi advocating for death sentence for corrupt politicians has been a recurring conversation. What's your stand on it?
Well, Mark, you know it. Peter Obi, His Excellency, has been very vocal about this anti-corruption and all that over the years. For me, I think he's a spectator now because he's not in the field of play, quote unquote. You know, those in power now knew where he hurts, knew the position of things in the country right now. And we have institutions that are playing their role. We have the EFCC, we have the ICPC and all that. I think what we should be to do now is to look at ways whereby we can be able to track funding, we can be able to track expenditure and all that. I think this government has initiated a policy whereby even if you are disbursing funds to local government now, there are institutions tracking these funds. That is the best way to go now. And at the same time, you could recall that the cases pending before the judiciary, over the years have not been concluded. So we have so many issues that are yet to be, tackled. So it's very difficult for, especially the judiciary, to be able to fight these, corruption cases because they are so numerous. So I think what Peter Obi is rightly saying is true, is good. But again, at this level of our democracy, for us to go all out to, pronounce death sentence on, corrupt officials, I'm not in support of that, Mark.
All right. Barrister, quickly, we know this conversation has been recurring over time, with the way Nigeria has been going with developments in the country. Now, even if this particular, reform has to come into play, how do we even begin? Where do we begin to implement this, this kind of law?
You see, laws a lot of times are a product of culture and custom.
Okay.
You don't just go about making a law. The way the people live their life on a daily basis determine the kind of laws you want to make. And so for the Chinese that have done very well with having death sentence in that regard, it's part of their culture. It is the extent to which they detest corruption. That is why they are able to express that in a written law. The average Nigerian has a high taste for corruption. And I have to say, it is what it is. So our culture as a people, we don't just want to do things. It's not just about those in government.
Okay.
We see corruption happening in small places, in small quarters, in town unions, town associations. We are not yet there.
Okay.
I am hopeful. We are an evolving society.
Okay.
We are growing culturally, psychologically, and in all parameters of growth.
So what you're saying is advocating for the death sentence will be too sudden. We need to approach it with some very
Let us begin
steps.
with having a politician go to prison for 20 years.
Okay.
For 10 years. For 5 years.
With hard labor.
Yes, with hard labor. And let us see that politician, when he goes to his village, the doors are shut against him. And his people would say to him, "You are a disgrace to us. We sent you to represent us at the national level or at the state level or at the local level. You are an embarrassment to our community. We don't want you anymore." So we begin to tackle it from a cultural dimension and perspective. That is when you are now able to get to the point of having it as a law. The people whom you want to legislate over this bill are all part of the system. And so don't get me wrong, corruption has not done us well as a nation, but we are evolving. And I want to say to Peter Obi, I believe that someday
we'll get
there. But we are not there at this point.
All right, Garba, very quickly now, we understand that this conversation is always going to stretch, but what roles do you think our religious leaders can play in this regard to ensure that corruption is nipped in the bud and at least reduced to the barest minimum?
There are major stakeholders, critical stakeholders in this whole exercise. I think if we start from the ground, especially at the parental level, cautioning young people on the basis of, culture and religion, and at the same time, to train them towards hard work, dedication to duty. It begins from, at the youthful stage. Because I'm lucky to have been brought up through this lane by my parents, especially my mother. She cautioned me, said, look, there are things you can do to make money, and you have to acquire knowledge, you have to go through a lot of process, and you have to be patient. So it begins from the home front. And religious bodies should not encourage these or personalities by forcing them to make donations and all that. So it has to take we have to take a very bold step, starting from the home front, even before the religious institutions come in to add their voices to it. So it should begin from the home front.
All right, Mr. Bernard, in 30 seconds, your final take on this.
Well, corruption has not done us well. We are exactly where we are today as a result of corruption. Every Nigerian aspires for a great nation. We aspire to be a developed nation. We aspire for the very best. But like Garba has said, it is a matter of culture and custom. Over time, I want to believe that we are able to rid ourselves of this vice, and we are able to build a nation that we truly deserve, which is one that we want to develop, not that 1% takes everything and the 99 are at the back screaming, as it were today.
And just to add, we can't rule out the get-rich-quick syndrome as well.
Absolutely, and that's why I commend the FCC on the whole money spraying thing going on.
Right.
It's not good for the young people.
Okay.
Sending the wrong signal to the young people, and I commend the FCC for that.
Thank you. Mr. Bernard Odeniga, thank you so much. Lawyer and former NBA National Human Rights Committee Secretary. Thank you for having to join us on the show today.
The pleasure
Ibrahim
is mine.
Garba, it is indeed a pleasure to always have you on the show as well. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure, Mark.
Thank you so much. And that's our show for today. Remember, you can follow the conversation on our social media platforms at TVC News NG or on our website at tvcnews.tv. I am Mark Otabo. Till next week, good night. Thank you so much.